Hey gang, gonna do a starter rebuild. So I just took the little shroud off from over the brushes. If you look in there, see if we can see in there. It's kind of hard to tell with the view here with the camera. Let me try something. There we go. Okay, you can see brush material beyond the holder, so that brush is okay. That one is too. Yep, they're all good. So probably don't need to replace the brushes, but I'll compare them to the new ones when I get it apart. But what we're going to do is we're going to have the unit right here, and I think the center bushing right here is worn out. When that wears out, then the shaft under a load binds, and then your starter turns very slowly. So she's got a lot of miles on her, a lot of miles. So we'll replace that bushing and go through and clean everything up. As you can see, my terminals are getting a little corroded and whatnot, and we will improve the ground paths. You always want to make sure that this is bare metal and the engine backing plate is bare metal, so it acts as a conduit. And then the back side of this to the block, and this joint here, bare metal, metal to metal, so it conducts electricity. The back plate, which is part of the circuit to the body, should be bare metal. All is a ground path, and you build a good ground path, they start beautiful on 6 volt. Okay, you can, it's hard to show, but there's a fair amount of wiggle between the shaft and the bushing there, so obviously the bushing is kaput. So we will disassemble all that and put in a new bushing. So just bend the tab down and undo this one. This whole piece slides off the shaft. Then you can replace this piece. I've got a new old stock one right here, all ready to go. And hopefully that'll take care of it. Okay, tab's bent back, and that just comes out, has that little keeper on there. Keep in mind the orientation of how that goes. The lower keeper tab goes in the spring, and then this whole piece will slide off the shaft. Okay, that piece and all that slid off the shaft, so you know that orients just like that. Then the bottom of that goes in that hole, and you got a little keyway. You got to remove the key. You can pull off this mid piece. Okay, she's all apart. You can clean all this up, polish this up, and clean the insulating grooves with a sharp edge, and but like 600 grit, wet dry, polish that up to where it's shiny. Make sure that this end is not all boogered up, and So there's a that's a bearing surface too to check. And then this is the red Gliptal paint, and if you see a need, you can you know, if you get a lot of this kind of chipping, you can redo the Gliptal. Okay, I cheated a little. I've got a lathe, so I can put this in the lathe and polish this up a little bit. You don't want to take off much, but you do have quite a bit to work with. Bring it up to shiny copper, and I think I'm going to get out my Gliptal paint and just touch up a little bit. I used some of this to try to clean things up, and it flushed a lot of dirt out of here and out of here, so that's a good thing. Okay, be sure to polish all the mating surfaces of the mounts clear of paint, since this little dude mounts up on here, so you want that contact clean. Okay, I popped it apart. I cleaned the surface between here and here, and I'll polish this mating part to this mating part, and that mating part to the engine backing plate. All help to make a good ground path. Okay, if you twist the spring so that as it tries to reset into position, it binds against the brushes, then you can hold the brushes out of the way so you have a clear path to drop the guts back in, get the armature back in there. So clean that bushing or replace it if need be. And it has a little oiler plate right here. It doesn't take much, just a drop every once in a while, and clean off the excess there actually. So yeah, so we'll just drop that back in, and we'll be good to go. And by the way, I got the new bushing on there, nice and firm and tight, no wiggle. That's the way you want it. Okay, we have her set down in there. Turns nice and free. So I think she'll be much improved in starting. Okay, clean up the threads on the grooves there, clean this all up, and clean up the teeth. My teeth are a little worn, but not too bad, they'll work. And then give the sliding surfaces and rotating surfaces a light coat of oil, and on the inside where it'll right on the shaft, just a light coat of oil. Okay, she's all lined up, ready for the screw and the little keeper. That goes in there, and the down tab goes down there. And don't forget to bend the up tab back up. Okay, so the springs are back in place, and on the positive ones, they're centered. The wires are so that as the brush moves inward with wear, they can travel along with it, and they're not near the sides where they can short out. So she's all coming back together. That's got a light lube on it. We'll lube that up in the bell housing bushing. That's something else. So I have a new bell housing bushing coming, which I'll replace that. That keeps the shaft true to the starter, which makes a huge difference in how it cranks over. So now I'll put the band back on. I will put the mounting piece back on, and and I'll polish up the positive cable piece. And the kit came with lovely new copper nut, and yeah, so we'll button all that together. So I still have spare brushes and things out of the kit. I didn't need to use those. Those are all handy to have around though.